We're making a bread pudding today. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mina. I'm a culinary school grad and a former professional cook, and we have another extremely very easy recipe today. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 ingredients. We're making a bread pudding today. Creamy, custardy, got vanilla, great flavor, and it's easy. And you can meal prep it. I know a lot of people like to meal prep some of these desserts. I'm gonna be using the 8x8 pan today for this, but you could obviously make it in whatever pan that you have. You can pop it in the fridge and just cut out a piece when you wanna eat it. Great for breakfast with a cup of coffee. It's perfect. So bread pudding recipes are pretty straightforward. So we're pretty much making a half custard. We're gonna pour it over the bread and then we're gonna pop it in the oven for that to set. And then afterwards, you just cut into it and eat it. You can add fruit, you can add blueberries, you can add strawberries, that would go great. Blueberries is a classic one. Just put them on top on there before they go into the oven. Great stuff. So I like pretty big pieces of bread here. You don't want it to be too small. It's just not gonna be good. It's gonna be too soggy by the end. So I like to go 3. So you make 2 cuts, turn it around, you make 1, oops. And also try to use a serrated knife. Serrated knives are the best thing for cutting bread. 2 cuts, 3 cuts. Should be about this size. So as you can maybe hear, this bread is actually pretty stale. It's kind of old, and that's the best kind of bread that you want for this. You want old, stale bread. And the reason that you want old or stale bread is because it's gonna have less moisture in it, so it's gonna be more accepting of the custard. It's gonna take on more of the custard rather than just a little bit of the custard. If you don't have any old bread, you can just always toast your bread a little bit just to, again, get some of the moisture out of it. And you're pretty much replacing that moisture that you remove from the bread with that delicious custard. All right, so we have our milk here, and then we're just gonna add the protein in. We're gonna add the salt, the sugar, and the vanilla, and then we're gonna go on the stove and heat it up. Tiny bit of salt, allulose, scoop of protein. And the protein of choice today is the Jack Factory Vanilla Oatmeal Cookie. This has been my favorite one as of right now. It's my current favorite one. You know how when you go on a protein run and you just go after one flavor and that's the only one that you wanna eat or drink for a while? This is my one right now. It tastes really good. Just a hint of oatmeal. There's not too much of it. The vanilla is really good, and it just has like a buttery cookie finish at the end. Very nice. It works in like most applications, so that's also why I like it. Very versatile. If you want to try it, use code MINA. You can get yourself 20% off this protein and anything else off the website. I've been loving the greens also because I've just been lazy, honestly, lately. I haven't really been eating any vegetables, taking a scoop of greens every day. So that's also something good. If you don't eat your vegetables, at least get some greens in. Then we're gonna add about a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. So I usually tend to go for the vanilla bean pastes. You'll find them in grocery stores, or you can get them online on Amazon. I'll have a link to my favorite one. This isn't the best brand out there. There's a really good brand that I usually use, but I just wasn't able to find it. I had to order online, and I just needed vanilla right away. So I just got this from the store, but I will have the real one, the actual brand that I like to use, in the description if you want to check that out. A quick note, if you check these out, you're gonna see that they are not cheap. Vanilla bean pastes are pretty expensive, honestly. And if you're wondering, is it worth it? Why should you spend the money on this versus the extract? Honestly, this is worth it. And if you're gonna make something that doesn't have a lot of flavorings in there, and vanilla is a pretty strong flavor, or it's a pretty prominent flavor in the recipe, definitely try some vanilla bean paste. It's gonna change your life. Like that vanilla extract that you're getting like a bottle for like $2, that's not, it doesn't compare to this stuff. Try it at least once, at least one time, get yourself some good vanilla bean paste and just try a little bit of it and see how you like it. Well, the protein should dissolve in there pretty quickly. You shouldn't have clumps or anything, at least with this protein. Now it's gonna go on the stove and we're just gonna heat it up. We're not looking to bring it up to a boil here. We don't wanna heat it up too much, barely a simmer, and then we're gonna take it off the heat. And I like to whisk it just so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan and burn. Also preheat your oven to 350 degrees in the meantime. Tablespoon of butter. I'm using real butter here. You don't have to use real butter. If If you want to use fake butter, you can, but you know, just as always, it's going to change the texture and taste of things. There is some bubbles that are happening here. I see the steam coming off, and that is good enough. That's all we're looking for. Again, we're not looking for a boil. We're not looking for anything crazy. We're just heating up the milk. I really like how when you use the vanilla bean paste, you can see the little specks of vanilla in there. That's cool. So now we're gonna crack in the 2 eggs. We're gonna do one at a time because we're not trying to curdle the eggs. We don't want to turn it into scrambled eggs. That would be disgusting. So we're just gonna break it in one at a time and then whisk it in, kind of to bring the egg up to temperature slowly. And always remember, crack your eggs on a flat surface, not on a sharp edge like this. Once the first egg is all in, drop in the next egg. That already smells so good. Now we're just gonna pour it all over the bread. And this is gonna set once it gets into the oven. Just make sure that you get all of it. I'm gonna give it a quick mix here because not all of them are coated. So I just wanna make sure that all the bread's coated because I don't wanna have any just stale bread that's gonna go into the oven without a custard on it. So I'm just gonna give it a pretty good mix here. Make sure it's all coated up. It really smells so good already. This is why it's important to have stale or toasted bread, because if it's just fresh bread, it's just gonna get soggy and you're gonna have a soggy mess. It's not gonna absorb anything. And here I just have some frozen strawberries. These are still frozen. I just cut them in half. And I'm just gonna plop a few in here, just like that. Just plop them in there. It's gonna give us some color and obviously some great strawberry flavors. I love strawberries. My favorite fruit, hands down. Oh man, this looks so good already. This actually looks better than I expected it. I went with quarters. I think that's more fitting. I think that's enough strawberries. We're gonna go into the oven, 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. And as always, as I always say, this is gonna depend on your oven. Oven temperature, oven times will be different depending on your oven. And as I always recommend, you should have an oven thermometer. There's always a link in the description. So it's just so you know what the temperature of your oven really is, because a lot of times the thermostat and what it says, it's just not the same as the real temperature of the oven. In the oven for about 20 minutes or until it's just about set, because it's gonna cook some more when you take it out. So you wanna take it right before it's actually done. Strawberry bread pudding. And I also put some of the caramel sauce on it. It's the same caramel sauce that I used on the banana pancakes. I'm gonna have a link in the description if you wanna check it out. Here it is. It's this bottle. It's what I use in my coffee, and I just use it on some desserts sometimes. It's really, really, really good stuff. Ooh, it's not dry, it's nice and custardy. The strawberries were a great addition. I think blueberries would be really good too here. I think the amount of sugar that you have is really, really gonna depend on your protein, because not all proteins are sweetened the same. It's good. Really easy to meal prep too, really easy to make. Did not take that long at all to make this. Make the pan, and then you got it for, I don't know, a few days, 2 days maybe. So in this whole pan, in this whole recipe is 1,000 calories with about 84 grams of protein. And if you want to bring down the calories a little bit, you can always either skip the butter, or you could just use really light butter. You could also use some kind of plant-based milk, you know, like almond milk or a cashew milk. I just prefer the creaminess and the taste of the 2% milk. You can do fat-free milk as well. That will also work. It's, again, it's just not gonna be as creamy, as fatty as this, but you definitely need eggs. Don't try to do this with just egg whites. If you try to do this with just egg whites, you're gonna have like a rubber mat. It won't even be bread pudding. It's literally gonna be just a rubber mat of egg whites. It's not gonna be good. Try it with different fruits, try it with different toppings, maybe some nuts, some different syrups, like some chocolate syrup, some strawberry syrup. There's a lot of different combinations you can make with this. There's a lot of different ways to flavor this and make it your own. You can put some bananas in there. Make sure, as always, to tag me on Instagram if you make this recipe, or if you make any of my recipes. Let me see what you're making. Let me see what you're coming up with. And I'm gonna go eat some more of this, and I'm gonna go clean up. I've made a complete mess for some reason. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.